Good morning. My name is Aida Raisi, and I am the president of the Bilateral U.S. Arab Chamber of Commerce. We are a private, nonprofit business association, and our objective is to promote U.S. business interests in the Middle East and North Africa.
We're very anxious to have opportunities for Louisiana businesses to do business overseas, to do business in any possible venue, and Saudi Arabia has great potential, I think, for many of you in this room, and certainly those in the oil and gas sector. We're also interested, obviously, in bringing people to Louisiana. That's what my interest is, in making certain that there are opportunities available in Louisiana for businesses in Saudi to potentially come to Louisiana and do business and also visit us, because obviously that's what we do on a daily basis, and encourage people to visit Louisiana and be tourists in Louisiana and enjoy everything that we sometimes take for granted. With the great progress that our state is making and the attention that's focused on Louisiana right now in so many different ways, from a political standpoint, the reform changes that are underway in government, the fact that people are looking at our state as a venue for great sporting activities, looking at our state with so many of the reality TV shows that are featured now with Louisiana. There's so much interest in Louisiana right now that we want to take advantage of that and make certain that people understand that Louisiana is a great place to do business, and that Louisiana businesses can offer great opportunities in places across the world.
We're up because we focused on making Louisiana a much more attractive place in which to invest, ranging from cutting unconventional business taxes to adopting some of the strongest governmental ethics laws in the country, reforming our workforce development initiatives, creating something called the Louisiana Fast Start program, now the #1 ranked state workforce training program in the country, and most recently taking on public education reform as well. If you look at how people around the country perceive our state, business people around the country, there's a whole range of business climate surveys, business climate rankings of states in the United States. Over the last 4 years, Louisiana has moved up to its highest position ever on every national ranking of state business climates. We've moved up an average of about 20 to 25 spots. In short, it's a great time to be doing business in Louisiana. We're outperforming the South. We're positioning Louisiana for a brighter economic future. And a very big part of that is our relationships with major businesses in other countries.
Our main focus as the American Business Association as Americans overseas is to try to generate additional U.S. jobs. I'm tired of reading papers saying unemployment's at the highest rates ever. Exports generate jobs, and we believe that Americans working overseas create a pulling effect to generate those exports. Saudis are very familiar with Americans. They're used to our work ethic. They like working with us. They trust us. They like working with us. They send their children to school here because they know that this is the best place in the world for them to get an education. Doing business in Saudi Arabia is real simple. There's no magic to it. It takes work, it takes effort. When you come to Saudi Arabia, you got to have a partner. You don't have to have a partner anymore. You can come in now as a 100% foreign-owned company, but out of the 20 companies that I know that have tried to come in as a 100% foreign-owned company, only 2 are still in existence. It's not who you know in Saudi, or not what you know in Saudi Arabia, as much as who you know. If you're going to be in Saudi Arabia, just like any market, you must invest in the market. You must invest your time, your people, and and build your relationships and make yourself local, so that when problems do arise, you can respond to them immediately. We believe that Americans abroad help generate exports here, help generate jobs, and that's the key to our presentation.
Saudi does a lot more to help foreign business than any of the other 6 GCC countries. So you really have 3 basic choices. You can try to go it alone. That's low-hanging fruit. There's not all that much of it left, and it typically is hard to get past unless you have some super black box technology that nobody else has. You have a tough time selling from afar without anybody in country trying to help you sell and get your work done, get it performed, keep the customers. The second thing you could do is engage a Saudi party to be your representative, your distributor, your commercial agent, as the Saudi term typically used. We can talk about the difference between agency and Saudi law and U.S. law if anybody wants to. Or you can do business directly. You can set up a joint venture with a Saudi partner. You could form the LLC by yourself, or you could register a branch office and conduct your own activity on your own or with a Saudi partner on a direct basis. Saudis have an income tax on foreign bodies corporate, no personal income tax. Corporate income tax is payable by foreigners only. So this is an area that causes a lot of planning and a lot of effort. Is great for lawyers because your Saudi partner, your Saudi side doesn't know it. They don't understand it. They've never paid a penny of income tax. They don't even understand why a government would charge income tax. They think the government's there to pay them because all they pay is the religious zakat, which is 2.5% of their net worth, and that's a Quran or Islamic based fee, not an income tax, not a corporate income tax. Saudi Arabia revamped the code in 2005, and the Saudi tax authorities, the Department of Zakat and Income Tax, is light years ahead of the income authorities in Kuwait or Qatar. There still is no income tax in the UAE. Saudi tax authorities are sophisticated. They spent years and years, decades really, feeling as if the tax system was being abused to their detriment by foreign companies moving their profits offshore, paying themselves, paying to their head office, paying an administrative or an overhead charge, running employees without running those employees through the books, basically. And there were lots of loopholes prior to the 2005 amendments to the Saudi tax law, that if the Saudi tax authorities think that somehow you're moving money to yourself offshore, they want 15% of gross. Okay, so they're happy to take 20% of the profit or 15% of gross. Doesn't make them any difference, really. They figure if they get 15% of gross, they hit you good enough.
We have offices around the world in about 80 countries. We have offices throughout the U.S. as well. So our people are knowledgeable in sectors and industries and can advise you on doing business in that particular market. Oftentimes you meet a company, you don't know them, maybe you meet them at a trade show or somewhere, and you think you like what you see, you like what you hear about them, but you want to know a little bit more information. Our offices offer what's called an international company profile. It's basically a background report. They check the references, they go to their facility if possible, and they also ask for their banking and their financial information and provide you a complete report. So a lot of companies, a lot of U.S. companies, we recommend that before you select your marriage partner in many markets that you use something like the International Company Profile. Some of the trade shows that we support, a wide variety around the country and around the world. International trade shows that focus on the oil and gas industry. U.S. Department of Commerce certifies a number of trade shows. As a U.S. pavilion, our people attend and meet with, can counsel you during that time if you do attend any trade shows. The U.S. Commercial Service is there to support you as a U.S. company, whether it's in Saudi Arabia or whatever market.
And you'll find that with Saudi families that they're not necessarily focused on one particular commerce. They see something they like, they invest in it. Saudi Arabia has over $1 trillion in economic development, $120 billion with Aramco between 2012 and 2020 just in the oil and gas and downstream chemical. The Saudis have a very aggressive program to employ 3 million Saudis over the next 5 years. Their mean age is 21.7 years of age. They're sending their youth to the U.S. for education and to bring that knowledge back and partner with U.S. companies to develop economic growth and to build their country. So there's a huge investment in education. They're looking for large corporations to provide internships in the U.S. to try to help stimulate this growth. They're building these, there's 6 large oil and gas projects. When they build these, they're in the desert. There's no infrastructure to support it. So they're having to build the roads, they're having to build the utilities, the hospitals, the schools, the shopping malls, everything that goes with that. Its GDP exceeds that of China. I strongly recommend that you reach out to the U.S. Commerce Department. They're an excellent vehicle. Go through their website. They have a section on doing business in Saudi Arabia. They have these gold key programs where you can actually travel there. You can meet with the Saudi families and get a perspective of what's going on. Also, the Bilateral Chamber, AIDA, they bring trade groups to Saudi Arabia as well. These are great vehicles for you to get knowledge about doing business in Saudi Arabia. I went to Saudi Arabia in 1997, and I had an agent that whined and brought us around. You know, we went to the palaces, we picked up in the Rolls Royce and, you know, all of the la-ti-da. And it was a middle person between us and the Saudi partner. And it went well for the first 2 or 3 years. We were a small technology company. We were able to double and triple our revenues. Man, we were rocking and rolling. And then we didn't know our partner. And we had to get a divorce. And fortunately, it ended up in U.S. federal court. And we went through trademark and patent litigation, but it was a 3-year process. It was extremely painful, and it almost bankrupted the company. We won because we didn't have a legal partner that understood the Saudi laws. We were so dead set on following our U.S. business model, following the U.S. laws, that we almost lost it.